I had to cut my homeboy off for potentially being homophobic, and I wouldn't necessarily just call him homophobic, and I wouldn't necessarily say I exclusively cut him off for being homophobic. I think I really cut him off for how he projected himself and chose to go about communication in that area. Now, as being a black man in America, living in my own society, I have two battles to fight. I have the one to fight outside of people of my races, and I have the battle to fight within the people of my races. And the people of my own race have came up with a lot of stereotypes and a lot of ignorant methodologies that we're going to believe in to go about, or analogies, and a lot, you know what the fuck I'm trying to say. They just be believing in a lot of weird, dumbass shit. One of those things is that a black man is just gay. He doesn't even get a chance to be bi. And my community, maybe everywhere along the lines of the world, we have a problem with downloads, but I can't speak about everybody else in the world. I can only speak about my world, my race. And I don't want to call this a problem. I want to call this a situation. I want to call this an experience that some people are choosing to not understand. And in my community, a black man can't even be bi. He's just gay. Everything he do is just gay. If he's dealing with a woman, he's not allowed the understanding in the space of just liking two things at once. He's just automatically gay. I understand the nuances, a lot of the deep things going on in our community. And a lot of times my community only want to talk about surface level things. We never want to talk about the why. We want to get angry at the women who are selling their bodies and try to put them down and degrade them, and be upset that they're able to sell their bodies and make these money and get these certain advances. But we're not questioning and being upset equally with the system that feels like they have to do that. We're calling our young males YNs and judging them off their actions, but we're not talking about the system that created them. You know, from my understanding, when it came with racism and bigotry and things of this nature, I didn't start off being black and proud, and that was because I didn't know my history. But that's a video for another day. Along these things with sexuality, you know, sexuality and the definition of masculinity is very vague nowadays. Everybody has their own perspective about what they feel like sexuality and masculinity means for people. And I know from my experience, I've been sexually assaulted by men and women that for a very long time, numerous occasions, more than I would like. And I've been sexually assaulted by more women than men, but given the way I was indoctrinated, I held all the anger and hatred for the men and gave a pat on the back for the women. I saw that when the women did it, it was cool to have an older woman prey on me because I had game, I had sauce. But that's how I was indoctrinated. I didn't like that from the inside. I didn't. But given the world that I was brought into, it was only natural that I moved towards the inclination of how I was indoctrinated, right? So when I got older and I started to recount on the events of me being sexually assaulted about a man, it did confuse my sexuality a bit. It did have me wondering about who I am, what do I like, and why do I like the things that I like. I didn't understand. So my first experience with any of the opposite sex, I wouldn't say he raped me. I would just say it was a bit of coercion. I wasn't ready for it, and I didn't know how to defend myself in situations like that. I only know how to defend myself in situations I deem violent. Anything else, verbally, sexual, mentally, I didn't know how to defend myself in those ways. So I was susceptible to certain manipulations, and I ended up doing something with a guy for that time, and it wasn't pretty. I hated myself for it. I ended up not looking at my body for a long time. I didn't sleep with more women because of it. I didn't get confused. It's just one of those things of where it made me uncomfortable. I don't regret it. It's just one of those things that's uncomfortable. The second time was around my 23rd birthday, and I openly acknowledged what it was a choice, and I liked it. So now, as I get older and I'm exploring who I am as a person, I'm exploring the very fabric of my being, and I have to step out into a world full of perspectives that don't want to understand my perspective, or maybe don't have the capacity to understand my perspective. We have a lot of homophobic people out there. We have a lot of people who are secretly gay, a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of internal issues, and they can't do anything but project that, like most people do with their insecurities. They project it. So now this homeboy of mine, me and this homeboy, we've been cool for about 2 years. This is my partner. We've talked about everything to each other. He's even cried on the phone with me. Like, we've had a real brotherhood. Now, I'm not sure why he's had a latent response to certain things, but I have mentioned my sexuality to him in other occasions, even explaining my history. And that wasn't for the hell of it. That was to educate him, because a lot of my black brothers are not educated. They say a lot of things, do a lot of things out of ignorance. That's a part of the problem for a lot of the things out in this world. Ignorance is ruling this shit. So people are not coming into things with conscious thinking. They're coming in it with limited knowledge and moving off that. So are they to blame? Who knows? But one day, me and my partner, we was talking about a situation. I make videos, as you see, I'm a content creator, and I made a video saying coochie was getting a little boring. I'm about to try something else. Now the video was 50% satire, 50% real. 50% satire because coochie would never get boring. I prefer coochie over anything. But I definitely do want to try something else and have tried something else. So now the context of the video was my partner was saying that people who do not know me take a lot of things I say out of context and don't understand the way I deliver my message. They don't know that whether if I'm serious or if I'm joking, because I said the same way. Y'all ass be thinking I'll be joking. I'll be dead serious. Even if I told you a joke, I'm dead serious with this fucking joke. So yeah, I probably won't even laugh with this shit. More of the story, me and bro talking about it. And the situation I explained to him, in my opinion, wasn't a very detailed situation. I can understand that if I was saying some things to him very uncomfortable, like where I would have that reaction, I get it. And again, this is a latent reaction. This is the first time I done told my partner about some gay shit that I had going on. So now we talking about this situation, and while we're joking about the situation, the message thread, the video, whatever, he's joking with me. He's knowingly joking with me. So now I'm thinking we cool. I'm thinking we real. The next day passed by and I hit bro up for $20, right? I get the $20. Bro don't say nothing to me. I find that a little weird. He just send the 20, say nothing. I don't internalize it. We grown men, deal with it later. Shortly after that, he texts me and let me know that he gotta holler at me about something, about the video I made and the conversation we had. So now I'm confused because I didn't think it was going to lead to my sexuality. Why would we have a conversation about my sexuality? That's something I genuinely don't understand between men. I feel like the gayest shit you can do is be concerned and worried about what another person is doing with their body parts, let alone the same sex. Because me as a gay man, I don't use these words. I'm a man of experience. I'm open. If the energy is right, I will experience you no matter what you look like, what you show up as. That does not matter to me. So for me to be an open individual, I do not look at people in lustful light, let alone the same sex. I'm not looking at a random man and wondering what it's like to fuck him and all this other weird shit. What do you do with his meat? That's not what I'm worried about. So I'm very confused on why people who are homophobic worry about that. I'm very confused on how people who are not gay worry about those things. But nonetheless, first thing I do is apologize to him because it's never in my instance to make anybody uncomfortable. That's not what I want to do. So I apologize to him and I asked him specifically, what are you upset about me? Me being gay, me being bisexual, or the message in itself? He say the messages in itself, the conversation. So not me specifically being bisexual, not a problem. We have a conversation. I'm trying to understand what he's coming from, but given the messages that I read to him off messages of a guy that texted me off of the video. And I told him from the video that because I'm playing, I had a lot of guys hit me up to try to shoot their shot. And that's not my type of shit. Personally, anything I'm not attracted to, I do not like for them to know my sexuality because I don't like rejecting people, whether it's a man or woman. I don't like hurting people's feelings. That's not what I like to do. So if I can diminish anything, or I just rather not be in a situation. So I don't give my sexuality out openly to people. So by that being said, as we're having this conversation, I'm just trying to apologize because I was going to leave it at that. If you're uncomfortable with that, that's cool. Now the situation goes left because you ever been in a situation where somebody says something to you, do something to you, and they do things or say things to try to reinforce their action because they know what they said or did was just a little fucked up? That was his case. He said a lot of things to me and ended it off with saying, I'm still his brother. He not going to judge me. You know, he just don't want to hear certain things. I could talk to him about anything else important, just not that. So I told him I felt like that was contradicting yourself a bit because why are you comfortable talking to me about anything else but about this? And I'm not understanding what about this are triggering this type of response to you. Now, mind you, 2 years straight, we done had lovely relationship, no bullshit, no fighting, no none of that. He understands my principles, I understand his principles. My thing about the matter was, you slept on this. You didn't even bring it up to me the day it happened. You bring it up to me the next day, and you bring it up in an instance of where I wasn't even talking to you about this for something else. So that lets me know this stayed on your mind for the night. Another thing is, if this made you uncomfortable, you supposed to be a real nigga. Why wasn't this addressed right away when I said it? Why did you joke with me? Why are we carried on to the next day? But nonetheless, I acknowledge your feelings. I validate your feelings. You're totally right. I won't have this conversation with you. But so I can better understand what you're saying, I want to understand what truly made you uncomfortable. Because it can't be the messages. Nothing happened in the messages. I read off one text message that somebody texted me from this video. And the guy from this video asked me how my day was. I said it was good. I asked him about him, what he got going on. The only thing was weird in this conversation was when he told me he's about to get in the shower. Now, us being guys and us knowing how we know how they go, but that was about it. It was a real true conversation. And I had to tell bro, this is just a video and I don't necessarily swing that way on that side. I like a little bit more of those days and thems and type things, right? I sent bro a voice message. I said, the first thing I sent in this voice message, I told him, I said, brother, I'm sending you this voice message so you can hear my voice, so you can feel my energy. I'm not upset with you. I completely understand your concerns. I just want to better understand it. So I would just want to better understand what actually upset you and rubbed you the wrong way, so I know not to never do it again. Because if it was these messages, I'm not really understanding how this thing made you uncomfortable, because nothing was said in his message. This is like a regular old message. So if this the case, I have to make sure I watch every regular situation I tell back to you, which is why I'm trying to get down to the nitty gritty of what actually made him uncomfortable. Now, at this point, I'm not thinking he's homophobic. I'm just thinking this is a straight man and he's uncomfortable with hearing certain things, even though I didn't say nothing. And that's why I'm pushing the issue, because I didn't say anything. So if it's the issue of you're comfortable with me, what I said, now what did I say that made you uncomfortable? He started to get very hostile and aggressive with me. And I noticed that he started little broing me a lot. He's a bit older than me, but even though he's a bit older than me, we've never had this situation of where you're a little boy and I'm little bro and you big bro. That's never the type of dynamic we had. But upon talking about my sexuality, now I'm little bro. So what, does this diminish me as a man in your presence now? Does this make me a bitch in your eyes or something? I don't know. So he texts me back after my voice message and tells me I can't tell him how to feel. He gonna feel how he feel on my mama. So at this point, I'm ready to leave the conversation alone, because I notice he's getting a little bit heightened in his emotions, and I genuinely don't understand it. That's not a conversation I want to have. I do not want to sit here and be in a conversation about where the fuck I put my dick. So I left it alone. He ends up FaceTiming me. And because I don't have a problem with him, because I'm not upset, I just feel like it's one of those situations I don't want to deal with and ain't got to talk about right now. I answered the phone. I ain't think no biggie of it. My girlfriend's sitting right there. Mind you, I'm in a relationship with a girl. A woman. He answers me completely upset. So now me and my girl, we're a bit jarred by his reaction. So I'm trying to figure out what's upset. So I'm like, what's going on with you, brother? Like, so for the first 5 minutes, he pretty much checks me and goes on a rant. He's checking me. He's not having a conversation with me. He's checking me. And I'm listening to him thoroughly, trying to analyze and discern what he's saying and how he truly feels, because I gather that he's not going to just come out and tell me the real reasons. So I'm asking him again, well, if all this is coming from message thread, this seems like a lot just for messages that wasn't revealing. So what is the real issue here, bro? I'm trying to talk to you. You don't want to let me talk. He's cutting me off. And I'm telling him, brother, I just let you speak for 5 minutes and I didn't cut you off. You said a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. I would like to respond. Can you let me respond? Yeah, go ahead. He say that bit with an attitude. So I'm no big deal. Not internalizing that. Let's get this conversation out the way, because I know this conversation is rooted in ignorance and I'm an educated person. So let me help educate you on certain things if you allow me to. He has no intentions on having he's using words like enraged, furious to explain how he feel. So now I'm just a bit, I'm even more confused because of these words. So I'm like, what are you enraged about? Like, I'm the one that's gay. I'm the one that's doing things. So what are you upset about? Yeah, bro, you can't tell me how to feel. And I just ain't never had no gay friend before. So yeah, it made me a little uncomfortable. So then I stop him. I say, hey, So now you lied to me, because in the messages, right here in these messages, you told me it's not about me being bisexual in itself. It's about the messages I read to you. But now you just told me it's about my sexuality. So now the conversation goes to something completely different, because you lied to me. Now I'm looking at principles. Now I'm looking at deeper things of this conversation. Now I want to internalize this a bit more and go in depth. Because what is the true issue here? Okay, you revealed to me now that you didn't have a gay friend and things like that. All right, what's next in this process? What does this mean for us? Because essentially what he wanted was to still be cool with me. We're still brothers, but I have to diminish my light in a way to make him comfortable. And what I'm not going to do is change who I am to make anybody comfortable. Now, I will adjust certain of my behaviors to make people comfortable. Maybe if I'm in a relationship and I got bad habits, bad things like that, I would change it. But with this, hell no. I'm not finna diminish my light and dull my light so you can shine brighter and you can feel comfortable. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your security your security of yourself? I'm not insecure. I love every inch of myself. I've gotten to the point in my life of I don't care how anybody perceives me. I know me better than anybody. I know what I wake up and do. I know the battles I have to fight. I get up every single day and face me. I don't worry about another man out there. I don't worry about a woman out there. I don't sit here and put their business on my mind. I deal with me. I have to worry about me. I'm my biggest enemy. I'm my biggest competition. Because if Hollow don't watch what the fuck Hollow do and say, Hollow gonna be the only one that's gonna have to deal with those consequences. You get what I'm saying? And maybe somebody else got to deal with the consequences of Hollow not watching and doing what he's saying because he out here projecting nonsense into the world. That's not what I want. I'm raising kids. I have a son. Can you imagine the turmoil I go in my mind of having these certain emotions and things go through my body and I don't understand it why, and I have to attach this shit to masculinity and try to raise my son around it? That's what we're dealing with out here in the world. I want us to love each other. There's people eating babies. There's people raping people. There's people hungry. No shelter, no clothes, still living primitive. All these great problems that we have in America, and yet people want to focus on homosexuality. Again, I'm only speaking of the black community. We have a lot of shit going on in the black community, and the black community care about homosexuality. We got a rapper named Boston Richie. He's a fucking pedophile. He's been grooming a certain individual since she was a child. People have tried to stand up and step in for this teenage child to let her know that this isn't shit. Nobody cared about that. Now that the Sheelan came out and talked about it, people still don't care about that. She came out and said she was pegging him. That's what people cared about. People cared about what this grown man was doing. They didn't care that this grown man was with this little ass girl. That's the society we live in, right? And I hate it. So I love my brother to death. I still gotta love him to this day. He's still my brother. And again, that's why I say I don't think I cut him off just off the principle of believing he's homophobic. That is an internal issue. I don't feel no type of way if you're homophobic. That has something to do with you. You have to dig deep inside of yourself and figure out what's going on with you. For me, that has nothing to do with me. I don't like how you talk to me. I don't like how the fact that my sexuality has now been revealed to you in some sort of way. And now your respect for me seems to have went out the window too. You're talking to me out of anger. You're talking to me irritated. You're talking to me like I'm a little boy. You're talking to me as if I'm not a man anymore. Clearly the love and respect we have for each other wasn't enough to get past sexuality. Sexuality made you change your whole perspective about me. And what? A lot of these motherfuckers be moving like a nigga maybe gonna have a crush on you and make a move on you. Gang, you don't be a nigga type. I don't be somebody type. What the fuck be flattering y'all? If every female, if every woman out in this world wouldn't even fuck you, what make you think a gay nigga fuck you? What make you think this nigga ain't got standards? He ain't got taste. He just giving it up to everybody. Nigga, again, I don't like anybody that ain't my type, and I don't like niggas that look like men. I don't like people that look like maybe me and you that's watching the video right now. I don't like them. I love and respect everybody. It's just, I don't speak about my sexuality because I'm still figuring my sexuality out. The same way I won't go out there in the world and fucking talk about every woman that I've been with and slept with, I ain't got to do that with a man either. It's nobody's business if you're a top or bottom. That's your business. I feel like even if you go talk to a girl, maybe you should let her know what the sexuality is. But if you're not comfortable, you don't have to talk about everything else is. You just tell her what the person you like. And that's it. So yeah, after that situation, you know, brother didn't let me speak. The conversation carried on with him pretty much yelling at me, and I sat there and listened to it because I respect him. And then he hung up in my face. And that's where the problem ended at. Once he hung up, that was it for me. Because not only did you call my phone, you didn't let me speak, you cut me off, you had no respect, and then you hung up in my face. Now I'm questioning you and telling you what you're saying doesn't make sense to me. You hung up in my face and then had the audacity to text me and say, I'm going to call you back when I calm down, brother. Who told you to call me in the first place in these heightened emotions? Why didn't you call me then? So you think you just about to talk to me any type of way and then come back and we going to be good? You think you about to tell me how I can operate around you, what I can and can't talk to you about, what's important and what's not important, and you get to dictate that and I say nothing about that? That's not how that works. We supposed to be brothers. A lot of times he said brothers fight, brothers argue. No, brothers communicate. Brothers can learn how to communicate without fighting, without arguing, without stepping on people's feelings. We don't have to disagree with things. We don't always have to come and concur on every single situation we come across, but we must have respect. And the fact that you did not have respect is what triggered me to cut him off. You lost respect for me. That's what made me cut you off, not the fact that you was potentially homophobic. Again, that's an internal issue for you to deal with. You lost respect for me. Everything that's going on in our community that you can lose respect for. We got people that kill our peoples. We got women being raped. Women get treated like shit. We got our young brothers picking up guns and feeling like that's the way. No parents in the household. All these deeper issues we got, and you lost respect for me because of what I'm choosing to do in my personal life. It's a bit weird, bro. And it was disheartening. It was disheartening that I had to cut off somebody I love out of ignorance, because that's what it was. I don't just see homophobia. I see the nuances of that. I see the internal issues somebody may be facing. And I had to cut somebody off that I love to death. Somebody I would die for. Somebody that I would go to jail for. Everything. Because he lost respect for me. But it taught me a lot in this situation. It taught me a lot on this journey. People fall victim to the system that we live in and feel like this is all they gotta be, that they gotta listen to this world. They're afraid what people gonna say. They're afraid how they gonna look. They're afraid of an image. But the thing is, it don't matter what you do in this world. Somebody gonna always have an image of you. You can do the best thing for 20 years straight. You could be the best guy, best woman for 20 years straight. You do one thing that the public don't like, that's what you're remembered of. So again, I love this brother. I pray for him all the time. I be hoping that blessings miss me and they hit him. I hope that he's still doing well in life. I forgive him for the past, but you have no space for the future, because what I am not going to do is diminish my light to make anybody comfortable, to fit in with anybody. I don't care about that. And you shouldn't do it either. Be who you're going to be, because no matter what you do out here in this world, somebody is going to have something to say about you. Essentially, this video isn't just about homophobia and sexuality, and it's about being who you are. Show up as the real you, because when you don't show up as the real you with people, if you give people a watered down version of you, that's what they're going to take. At least when you give somebody the real version of you, you can always say you give someone the authentic version of you. You didn't do a honeymoon comfortable phase of pretending this and so you don't step up. I give somebody the whole me. I tell them everything about me that they need to know, all my fucked up ways, the people I fucked over, bad flaws that I still carry. I let people know I'm insane from the start, so you know what the fuck you're walking into. Be who you are. Stay in your authenticity, bro. Embarrassment is temporary. Authenticity is forever. Nobody can ever take that from you. So fuck what anybody got to say about you. Fuck how people want to operate with you. What do you believe about yourself? And make sure you maintain those boundaries. Make sure you stand your ground when it comes to things. You don't fold because you understand a person. You don't fold because you love a person. You don't compromise because you and this person has history. If somebody overstep your boundaries and you speak about those boundaries and they overstep some more in different ways or even the same way, that's it. We're not children no more. This is not high school to where somebody can do some fucked up shit and we were killing friendships 20 plus times. No, that's not what we're doing. Forgiveness for the past, no room for the future. That's my story time for the day. I hope I said this in a way that people can understand. I'm usually a proper person, but again, in the nature of my channel being called Hollow Life, Hollow doesn't talk about his life enough. So I'm going to start talking about my life and my experiences, and also videos with education and entertainment along with the mix. So when you guys watch this shit, you can feel like you actually connecting with me and know who I am.